Well, hello there, and welcome back to another episode of Geek with Glasses Live. I'm your host, Neil, your Geek with Glasses, and today we're coming to you with a special episode, and we are going to be discussing WWDC 2010. Steve Jobs just left the stage out in California where he made his big announcements of the iPhone 4 and all of its updates, as well as of a couple of other features that he is releasing and some updates to the App Store and the iPad. So let's go ahead and jump into this and start discussing some of the updates. We'll start, obviously, with the most important and the one thing that most of you are looking for information on. We're going to talk about the new iPhone. The new iPhone is actually being called the iPhone 4. They're claiming that it has a little over 100 new features. Obviously, the most prevalent is the new design. They're claiming it is now 24% thinner than your current iPhone 3G and 3GS, which I have here. There is now a front-facing camera as well as a rear-facing camera with LED flash capability as well, and that LED can also be used for another new function, which is full 720p video recording. The new camera actually carries a 5-megapixel sensor on it, which also has what they're calling a backlit illuminated sensor, which is supposed to get more light into that camera lens so that you can take brighter and better exposed photos. There are now two microphones. I believe there's one on the bottom and one on the side of the phone, which is going to be utilized for noise cancellation, specifically if you're using for speakerphone. A lot of times I know when I'm using my iPhone in a speaker capacity, and there's any kind of loud ambient noise if you're outside or if you're driving a car with the windows down, a lot of times the recipient of that caller claims that it's very difficult to hear you speak. So hopefully that noise cancellation feature will really help out with that. A couple of other things. One of the really, really big things that they really talked a lot about is this new, what they're calling retinal display or retina display. The new retina display actually can display up to 4 times more pixels than your standard LCD display, and they're actually saying that this is has the capacity of actually displaying more pixels per inch than even an OLED display. They're claiming a 320 pixels per inch display rate, whereas they say that the human eye and the retina really only has the capacity of distinguishing up to 300 pixels per inch. So this is actually above and beyond technically what the human eye can actually discern. The screen is actually going to have a 960 by 640 screen resolution, which bumps you into a high definition resolution at an 800:1 contrast ratio, which is about 4 times more than your existing 3GS. The new iPhone is going to be running on the A4 proc. They did not actually say whether or not it's the same A4 processor that is currently running in the iPad models or whether it's been a modified version. Hopefully that information will be brought forth a little bit later under the specs page once apple.com/iPhone actually updates with the information. But they are using that new A4 processor, which is going to give you much more speed. Hopefully your phone's going to be a lot quicker, and it's going to lend a lot of support for the new multitasking feature that the new iOS has. And we'll get into that in a few minutes. There's improved battery life, and I'm going to go ahead and give you a rundown of what they're claiming with the new lithium-ion battery. And when you actually look at the schematic of the phone, the new battery actually takes up literally almost 2/3 of the entire phone. So the new battery is going to, they're claiming, is going to give you 7 hours of 3G talk time, 6 hours of 3G browsing, 10 hours of Wi-Fi browsing, 10 hours of music play, but wait, it says 40 hours of music, so there was a little bit of a misprint when they put the information online, and over 300 hours of standby. So that is a significant improvement over the current 3G and 3GS models. As I said earlier, the 5-megapixel camera is LED backlit, and that LED can actually be used as a video light. It can be turned on and left on when you're doing video capture in the 720 picture mode. I'm sure you can dial it down to 640 by 480 for standard definition as well. But now you have a light built in for your video and your still photo capturing. The phone is also, Apple has released a new iMovie for iPhone, so you can now do full iMovie editing with transitions, themes, intro music, intros and outros, and everything, and that's available. It's not available today. I just checked the App Store. But when it does come available, it's going to be selling for $4.99. So you'll be able to get that. I don't know whether or not you can download it to the 3GS and do editing on that or not, but it will be available. Some of the features, they're now calling the iPhone OS iOS 4. So they've dropped the iPhone and they're just calling it iOS 4. And some of the features of iOS 4 that we're all pretty much aware of from some of the leaked information is we now have folders where you can create groups. You can create a gaming folder and drop all your games in there, and et cetera, et cetera. Obviously, we have the multitasking that is now a feature of the OS. There's a more integrated email client where you can have a single inbox for all of your email accounts that you have configured. I know that'll be nice for the way I use my iPhone with all of my email accounts. They're offering much better enterprise integrated support for things like Exchange accounts and mails and contacts lists for the enterprise level users. They're also adding Bing as a search engine option. So right now you have Yahoo and Google. You can now add Bing as a search engine option, which is pretty cool. Bing is actually doing some really cool stuff lately. So what's all this going to cost you, and when is it going to be available? So for those of you who have iPod Touches, iPhone 3Gs or 3GSs, you will be able to get a free upgrade to iOS 4 as of the 21st of June. That is a free upgrade on the 21st of June. The new phone will be available on the 24th of June. Pre-orders will be 1 week from today. So I'm not exactly sure. I think that's the 14th will be the date that you can do pre-orders for the new phone. AT&T is actually going to allow anybody who has a current contract that is expiring at any time in 2010 to get the upgraded prices. Now, the upgraded prices are listed at $199 for a 16 gigabyte phone and $299 for a 32 gigabyte phone. They're going to be available in both black and white. And you can go and take a look and see what they look like on Apple.com or any of the Engadget, Gizmodos, Ars Technica, Mac Rumors, etc. to see what the white looks like in comparison. Other than that, it's looking like a pretty cool phone. I know I'm excited for it. A couple of the other things that they made announcements today for at WWDC, obviously, it was all about iPhone 4 today, but they also talked about some iPad updates that are going to be available when the iPad's operating system comes out later in the fall. You're going to be able to bookmark pages and read PDF files directly on your iPad. And a couple other things that Steve really spent a few minutes harping on was some of his App Store updates, saying that 95% of his apps are approved within 7 days. And there were 3 reasons. I can't remember right off the top of my head, and I didn't note them down because this was specifically about the iPhone. But 3 of the reasons why you may not get your app approved within the 7-day time period was if the description of your app was inaccurate. If you said it did something that it didn't do, that delayed you. If your app caused consistent crashing, that will delay you. And then I believe the third one, I can't remember. It was along the lines of it just not working properly. Were some of the reasons that your app was not going to be approved. So if you've got all of your ducks in a row and you've got all those things working on your app, Apple is saying that you're going to get your app pretty much approved and online in the App Store within within 7 days, 95% approval rate. There are many new and approved apps that are available today that you can download for the iPad and the iPhone, and I'm sure that developers for all the existing apps out there are going to be writing new versions of their apps that are going to take advantage of this new high-resolution display, as well as all of the new active push technologies with the iAds, which is the new feature where you're going to have embedded ads that aren't going to quit your application. And some of the other new features of the iPhone 4. Another big number that they wanted to talk about and that Steve was real proud of was over 5 billion apps will be downloaded later this month, I believe was the number. So that's pretty much it. This is just a quick update to let you know what happened at WWDC 2010 with the new iPhone 4 coming available in just a couple weeks here. Please leave some comments on the page. Let me know what you think. What do you think about iPhone 4? Are you looking forward to iPhone 4? Or does AT&T have you scared off? Are you looking forward to getting one and then jailbreaking it and throwing it on another carrier? Let me know what you think about all of these new updates. I can tell you from what I saw, the display looks pretty darn impressive. I'm very impressed with what they're doing with this retinal display with all of these pixels being jammed in, and it's looking pretty nice. I know I'm excited to get my new phone. So let me know what you think, and as always, please follow me on Twitter, which is twitter.com/geekwithglasses. That's actually where I was doing some live blogging as they were making announcements and releases of these new features. I was updating, so if you were following me there, then kudos to you. If not, again, leave some comments, shoot me an email. All of this information can be found at geekwithglasses.net, and always like, subscribe, and comment on YouTube. Thanks a lot, and have a great day, guys.